What's up, y'all? What's going on? It's your boy Jared from the Lagniappe Podcast, giving you what you need in news, interviews. We've been on a brief hiatus, but we're kicking it back with a new season. So I had to go get a great guest for the new show, new season. So welcome, Lorien Talmadge, to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, Lorien. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, Jared. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you for coming on the show. So I met this young lady at AI Summit. This is AI Summit with Alicia Little. We were learning about AI automation and how it's taking everything by storm. If you're not in AI, your business and your career may die. So, but we get in that a little bit later. So, Lorien, please let the people know a little bit about yourself.
Wow, where do I begin? So I I am a digital design and strategy executive, but also I coach high achieving women on how to win in life and business without burnout. So I'm one of those women. So I felt really equipped to speak specifically to that message. I've been in technology consulting for, 2 decades, a little bit more. And then about 5 years ago, roughly 5 years ago, I was introduced to the concept of design thinking and human-centered design, and that changed everything for me from a technology perspective. And so, from there, it opened up a whole new way for me to view technology, because now I understand, especially in this age of AI, how important it is to always keep humans at the center of everything that we do.
Right. So let's talk about it a little bit, because we talked about it before we started recording the show. Talk about how you learned about AI, how it inspired you, and how even starting. I don't know how long have you been learning about Alicia Little? How long have you been using her program?
So I learned about Alicia probably about a year ago.
Okay.
About a year, a little over a year ago, I would say. She came kind of into my awareness, and I thought, like, wow, that's so cool. Number one, for it to be a woman of color, that's the queen of AI, that is literally educating and changing lives in the world. Because I think so many people talk about it, right? It's such a hot topic, but people aren't fully educated on all the aspects. Like, they know ChatGPT, but they don't know the full scope of what AI can do. So that was really exciting for me to find her. But actually, for me, my very first introduction to AI, even though we didn't call it that back then, was in 2012. And back then, if you were in tech, it was large language model, right? And so there was something called IBM Watson. And
yes. Yes.
And everybody, similarly to today, where everybody can't stop talking about AI, back then it was about chatbots. So it was, like I said, 2012. I was working for a large professional services organization. If you check my LinkedIn, you'll know which one. And it was the talk of everything, not just for our clients, but also internally. It was, if you couldn't have a 10-minute conversation without people obsessing over chatbots. So that was my first entry point, actually, to what we would call now in the 2025, 2023, 2024 timeframe, AI, right? But I built my first chatbot, worked with a team of engineers to do that back then. And, one thing I would say that was true then and is still true now: you got to train it. It's really as good as the information that's in it. Now, back then, we focused a lot on what was, where the back end source data was going to come from. People didn't quite appreciate what it took, not just to create, but continue to train a model. I think people still don't fully grasp.
They have no clue.
Right? What is required to do that. And so that was usually where the point of frustration lied with the client, is they thought it was a set it and forget it, much like technology that they had implemented up to that point. And so I think we've been on a wild learning trajectory. Like, the fact that the regular person now has access to this technology and the way Alicia shows us, and you don't have to be You don't have to be a coder. I was never a coder, by the way. So this definitely tilts everything in my favor, because now I can actually build apps and, do all kinds of things, and I don't need a team to do it. I can do it by myself.
Right. Like attending the training, when I first saw Alicia, it was at the 2025 Podcast Summit in Atlanta. And her presentation blew my mind away. Like I was like, and I'm a tech. I've been in tech for almost 18 years. And I was like, wow, I knew about AI, and I didn't know AI was on that level yet.
Yes.
If y'all don't follow Alicia Little, go ahead and holler at her, alicialittle.com. I read the book. She got a lot of training seminars, stuff like that. Go check it out. So AI is crazy. But anyway, so enough. We'll go back to AI a little bit later. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about your career path. Let's talk about your education, any certification that you have. Let's talk about your career and just go from your first job, like 5 minutes from your first job to your last position and then your last company, you're creating your own firm, something like that.
Yes. So I am the champion of the non-traditional path. I love meeting people to talk about this, because I think I hope that it inspires particularly other women of color to not worry if they didn't start out in the, from a traditional starting point. So my career actually started in music. I wasn't in consulting. I was nowhere near technology, to a degree, but I developed and created and managed tours. And so what I learned doing that, though, was essentially project management. I learned how to keep people on a task, united on a vision, able to move it forward. And at this point, you can imagine I'm moving people from city to city or country to country, which prepared me then to be able to lead and manage teams in multiple locations, right? So, if that speaks to anybody and encourages them that you can be the master of your own pivot, I hope people can take that message away. So there was a shift, in music at the time. There was a lot going on. I'll suffice it to say it wasn't the world that I wanted to continue to live in. And so I thought, well, where do I go from here? What do I do with this experience now that I have? And I ended up with an interview at that professional services organization. And at the time, it wasn't technology that I could leap into, but it was marketing. And I found that I was able to make that jump there. But once I was in the door, the opportunities seemed endless. And so I always had sort of like this natural leaning towards technology. I'll tell you, when I was in high school, so I always say I don't code or never coded. That's not entirely true. When I was in high school, I was not good at math, but I was really good at coding. So I learned how to code to do my math homework.
What? That don't even make sense.
Make it make sense. Right. There was something about coding that I was like, this makes more sense to me. And so I can teach the code how to do my homework and get A's in math, because if I do the math on my own, we're not getting A's.
Hey, what coding language you was using back then?
I don't even know. I don't even remember. I will have to go back and try to figure that one out.
It's probably was Visual Basic. If you're going,
I think it was VBB. Yep.
VB Visual Basic.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that was what it was. Thank you for jogging my memory. But I know, like, it makes absolutely no sense. But having that experience was enough for me to feel comfortable that as my career continued to progress and opportunities presented themselves to lean more into technology, I just fully embraced them. And, we live in a time where information is available everywhere. So when I, as my career progressed and I would interview folks, like, how do you learn? That's one of my most important things. And so, YouTube University, like read a book, whatever it is for dummies, like all of those different things is how I essentially really built my technology career. And then I did continue on and, get my master's and stuff like that, but I don't have any degrees or certifications specifically in technology. I don't have any certifications in anything technology based, project management based, nothing. I have work experience and a hustle like nobody else. That's my differentiator. Nobody is going to out hustle me. Okay. Like that's been my, that's been my thing. And so when opportunities would present themselves, I always believed that I could, because the girl who can code to do her math homework that can't do math, what can't she do? Right.
Right.
So I continued down that path, continued project management, built my leadership muscle. And so that also became my other leading edge. And then when sort of later down the line, when I started getting into human-centered design and things like that, that became my other leading edge, I would say. But
can you explain what human-centered design? A lot of people doesn't know what that means.
Yes, I can explain that. I will put it in layman's terms, and essentially all it means is that we keep humans at the core of everything that we do. That's really all it is, right? We want to make sure, and especially in this age of AI, that we don't forget that everything that we do is for humans, built by humans, all of those things. In the course of my career, when I have worked with different teams and things like that, I will tell them the technology can be great, but it's only as good as the humans who are going to interact with it. So you can build something that is phenomenal, literally just cutting edge technology. You put it out, and if everybody's staring at it like, what do I do with this? Then it's not useful, right? And so making sure that we always design with the humans in mind at the core of it, I think and with AI is becoming increasingly more important.
Okay. So coming up in your career, which is very interesting that you have no high level technology certification or project management certification. That's impressive. What were any challenges or roadblocks that affected your career?
So here's the interesting thing about that, given your statement. It was never that I didn't have certifications. So let's be clear.
Oh, so you have certification.
That never held me back.
Okay.
People can have certifications and not have knowledge.
Absolutely. I agree with that statement 100%.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean you're good at what you do. It just means that you could pass a test.
Absolutely.
So, right?
Absolutely.
And I know that because I've worked with, and this is not any shade, like I have deep affection for all the engineers and solution architects and all the people that I've worked with over the years. I've led those teams with no certifications, right? So, because I understand business, I am a master problem solver.
Correct.
I am a master at that. And so once I understood, that was the most important thing. People want to know that you care, and that you care enough that you really listen and you can solve their problems, and you can solve it in a way, again, that keeps them in mind. So it was not the certifications that were a boundary. What got in the way oftentimes was being a woman and being a woman of color, especially in technology. And I will say the other funny thing is, because I don't have the certifications, it was never a leadership thing. Oftentimes the teams that I work with, engineers, solution architects, I get it. Like, you guys have gone to school, you've got your certifications, you feel like you put in the work. You look at me and you're like, how could she be the leader? Blah, blah, blah. And so they would try to like pull fast ones on me because they're like, she don't know. She can't read code. Now, I said I didn't write it. I never said I couldn't read it.
Gotcha. Right.
So that was where they got, like, that was their little hang up until they figured out, like, oh, she really actually doesn't mess around. Like, she knows what she's talking about. But yes, I would say it was like that sort of parallel. So not from a leadership perspective, but the teams that I worked with, often I needed to earn their respect because I didn't have the certifications. But leadership wise, it was just, who is this little brown woman trying to tell us what to do and trying to come up in the ranks and be a boss?
So that's what I meant by it was impressive how you made it up the ranks without any certification at IT or project manager, because usually I worked in government most of my career in IT, and it's a requirement. Like, you have to have certain certifications. In some positions you gotta have certain degrees. So when I hear you, like, people like you, especially a woman of color, that made it up the ranks without high level certifications, especially in this type of male dominated field, is very impressive, because I'm a black male, and I had to go through the same thing, because even though I have the certifications and I have degrees, they still be like, oh, he still don't know what he doing. And I have to go out and improve.
Yes. It's interesting, but I also believe, some of that I won't shy away from saying I think favor is on my life, for one. I firmly believe that. I don't shy away from saying that. I've seen God's hand active in my life in many ways, but also, like I said, you're not gonna outdo me. Like, my work ethic is bonkers. And so, and my willingness to learn, but I would say also, I know what my strengths are, and I lean heavily on them. I'm very confident in what I know how to do. And at this point, it's been 25 years of it, right? In consulting alone. Now, if you add in that I was moving belligerent musicians and artists and stuff around on tours, it's a little longer than that. Mm-hmm. But my ability to lead and to teach and to coach, and because I care, I think those are the things that set me apart. So that would be my thing to anyone. Know what you're good at. Know what you're really, really good at. Oftentimes when we go through like performance management stuff, especially from a corporate perspective, we spend more time talking about development needs than we do about what people do really well and coaching them to lean more heavily into that. We really make a mistake by trying to fit people into these little boxes, versus my leadership style is very much understanding people's, an individual zone of genius. And then I heavily push them in that direction, because I know, one, they're going to be happier, two, they're going to work harder, and three, truth be told, as a leader, they're going to follow me through a brick wall if I say. And I know that because I've had leaders like that. And so, and not that I want people to follow me through a big wall, that's not the point, but I think that's important, right? Is when you help people become and lean fully into who they are, you invest in their success, invest in their well-being. It's good for you, it's good for them, it's good for the business. And so I apply that same thing to myself. Even if my leader doesn't, I know what I'm good at.
Okay. What if somebody wants to get in your arena, like your area of expertise in technology, what would be some do's and don'ts on trying to navigate into that field?
That's an interesting question. I'll angle it from this perspective. So the number one don't is, don't assume you can't. Think about the story that I just told. And you're not the first person that had that reaction. Like, it's unheard of. People are like, what? You became an entire solutions, analytics, and technology leader with zero.
Right.
And the answer is yes. So don't count yourself out. Do's. learn as much as you can, be a sponge. Go into, and I've given this advice to a number of people, so I'll just repeat it. Go into it from like a project management, program management perspective, because that allows you to learn a lot about a lot. As a project program manager, you will have your hands in everything. And the other thing is, don't assume that tech is tech. As you know, there are a number of different areas within that space. So using program project management as an entry point will allow you to understand where you have some natural gifts, where you will need some acquired skill, and then you can kind of go from there and map your course. The other would be immerse yourself in the technology space and networking and all of those things. Get to know people, because your network is really your net worth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it is also your community. And so that is equally, if not more, important than your resume. Being able to be in the right rooms with the right people, so that even if you don't feel like you're ready to dive into the conversation, be a fly on the wall. You don't know what you'll learn, and you don't know who you'll meet.
Great. That's a great segue to my next question. What are some events or organizations that you're part of that you attend, and why do you attend these events or participate in the organizations?
So professionally, I'm part of WIT, Women in Technology. I'm also an executive member of ITSMF, which, by the way, both of those have incredible programs. A lot of the WIT events are free, so or a nominal fee. So I always encourage women to attend those. ITSMF obviously is slightly different on the cost scale, but what you get out of it, particularly if you go into one of the academies and things like that, not only the community, that is a true family. So what I would say about that organization, and my goodness, there's so much I would gush about, but often for many of us, people of color, we didn't come up in a family where we have a genealogy in what we do. I don't have anybody really before me, right, that laid a path for me, that I could call on the phone and say, here's the challenge that I'm having at work. Can you talk me through it? I need a listening ear. I need a mentor, advice, whatever. ITSMF is that. So I will forever and always be part of that organization, because they embraced me at a time when I needed it most. I tell everyone the story that my first introductory call, I was crying because
okay. Why is that?
Because being one of one is hard. Being a woman of color in a leadership role, because by the way, yeah, I'm a leader. So again, don't get it twisted about what you can and cannot do, and don't get tied up in these certifications and all this other kind of stuff. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. Sufficiently enough that, I became, in many spaces, I'm a one of one, and I'm not unique in that, right? There are often, I go to, I had an opportunity to attend a Atlanta Black Tech event. Shout out to them. That was incredible, not too long ago. And it was just for women, but still we could all fit at a table. Right. And so I was feeling the pressure of that. And it was my introductory call, and I couldn't help myself. She was like, what are you going through right now? And it just, like, the floodgates just opened. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I was like, I am struggling because there's not even another one of me. Not even another one of me that I could talk to about what's happening, what I'm feeling, the weight that is on me. So that organization holds a very special place in my heart. And then, as you know, recently I joined Alicia's AI. So I will have my first certification.
Okay.
I joined her certified consultant program. So that will be literally my very first certification in this space in 25 years.
Okay.
Finally, my creds. I get my cred up.
Finally. Finally. Okay. Well, let's talk about it. Why pushing certification in AI training and certification, coming from your background? Why?
It is something that an area that I'm super passionate about. First of all, I love it. I have so much fun with it. But also, even in my professional life, so I have the benefit of seeing how large organizations that we look at, large brands that we look at every day, are struggling with what they're going to do. They know they want to do it. They feel like it's a competitive edge. They don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And by and large, and I feel pretty comfortable to say this, because traditional consulting knows how to solve big problems, but they don't actually know exactly how to dial in and very specifically solve this one.
Mm-hmm.
Because in most cases, they don't understand it enough and they can't admit it, or they have very specific solutions that they understand and have built to solve. They're trying to solve a problem. So they're literally trying to cut and paste, which is the consulting way. We did it over here. We're going to leverage it so it'll work over here. AI is not that. And it changes every day. AI moves faster than any other technology that we've ever seen.
Yes.
Right. We used to say technology changes every 3 months. AI changes every day.
Yes.
So I believe that it is the game changer of our time. And I want to hop on that now rather than be 6 months, a year behind. Once things change and, maybe there's more regulation around it and all those kinds of things. And I want to help people really solve the problems that they have, not just for now, but to also start to create the roadmap for solving their problems in the future.
Okay. Great answer. Earlier you said you enjoy coaching. You want to talk about it a little bit more about that? Because I think a lot of people underestimate the power of coaching.
Yes.
Some people don't even understand that they can be coaching themselves.
Yes.
They don't even realize it. And that's another way they can make additional income if they decide to do some coaching on the side.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on it?
Absolutely. I essentially got into coaching to become to high achieving women what I needed at a time when there was a gap. And so, several years ago, again, hear me out, without the certifications and all that, it does come at a cost. My hustle was unmatched. So I had to work twice as hard. So I didn't have a certification that could just open the door for me, right? And say, oh, she's got the qualification. So I had to work really hard. So I was hustling. I was getting my promotions, stacking those up, working crazy hours, getting my MBA simultaneously. Can't lie, that did help. And I ended up diagnosed with an autoimmune. And I realized that I was tying so much of my, I was tying too much of my value and my worth and all of that, to my hustle, to all of those things. And so my health started suffering for it. And it was wild because on the outside, everybody looking in thought she's crushing it. Like she is absolutely crushing the game right now. And what they didn't know was that behind the scenes, though, I was really suffering. And so once I was able to kind of put together a little blueprint for myself to get my health back together, my mental well-being and all of those things, and really my soul, right? Because at the end of the day, success without your soul is not what you want. Right. And it's not sustainable. Right. I had to have that conversation with myself that, this wasn't a short game. It was a journey. And I was going to be in it for the long term. And I didn't want short success. I didn't want comet success that fast with the burnout. I actually wanted that long-term career where I could sit and have conversations like this, particularly with when I coach and mentor young girls who are interested in STEM. That's what I realized that I wanted. So I had to get my foundation in order so that I could do that.
Okay.
So I also coach high achieving women like myself on how to do that, really how to win and not burn out along the way. And the challenge is a lot of times when we don't know that that's what we're doing. And two, we know something is off, but we don't have anybody to talk to because we don't want to admit that the picture that we have on the outside is not what's happening on the inside.
Great. Yeah, that's a great answer, because I think I went through burnout sometime last year, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, man, what is wrong? Like, my eye was twitching. I was tired, but since where we come from, don't matter. You still got to push through. You still got to perform. You cannot fail.
Yes.
So it's a real thing. Like, and I didn't know what it was. And I think I Googled my symptoms, and it's I think it sounded like you have burnout. I was like, oh, really?
Right.
So I just scaled back on a lot of stuff. Like I even stopped doing a podcast show. I stopped coaching all my kids' sports teams.
Yeah.
I scaled back doing other stuff, like other additional side work. And I saw the difference. Like, I started feeling better. I wasn't as tired. I don't know how to describe the feeling. I guess additional pressure on you, like physically affecting you.
Yes.
But after I did that, I felt a whole lot better. So I was able to manage it better. So now I know the signs. If I feel like I'm overwhelmed or overworked, I know how to pull back and just relax.
Yes. And thank you so much for sharing that. And it's so funny because when I have been sharing this lately, I love that I've mostly shared, like I share it a lot, but what I've been getting back is men telling me, oh, you only do that for women, because I realized about a year or so ago, I was in burnout. And so, yes, primarily, I talk to women, and let me be clear about why. Oftentimes, the number of hats that women are wearing, and because men don't really have the whole good girl thing that a lot of us have to live down. You don't have some of the same. Now you have different, so don't get me wrong. There's different things that happen with men culturally, and there's some parallel, right? Especially coming from our backgrounds. So career-wise, if you are in technology or you're an exec, like any of these spaces, consulting, and there is no. And I don't think people appreciate, when people started talking about the pressures of offshore, and I'm not talking negatively in that way. I've enjoyed that immensely. I've been able to travel all over because of it. But can we talk about the time zones? So if I have to lead a team, my biggest, I would say, international project, Serbia, India, like the number of time zones that I'm dealing with means my circadian rhythm is crazy, because I'm either up early and then I got to nap in the middle of the day, because then I got to catch another time zone later. All of these different sorts of like time zone shenanigans you got to deal with. The pressure of never being able to say no, the pressure of being able to say you don't know. Those are all things that I think are more universal. From a female perspective, imagine then we also feel the pressure if we are in relationship or married or whatever, cooking, cleaning, children, all of these other things, friends, you're sometimes a mother now to your mother. All of these, we have so many different roles, and culturally, we have in many ways not progressed. And this is not a feminist thing. This is not that. I want to be very clear. A lot of times culturally, again, going back to generations. So the generation before me could still do those things, because in many ways, with an exception of some families who sure, they already had the people that were in business and successful and all that. I didn't have that. A lot of us didn't. So you're coming directly from a generation that's like, what do you mean you can't this? You should still be able to that. So there's these other layers of expectation. And then imagine you're crushing it over here and you can't say no. You're successful over here because you never say no. You're not going to say no over here. So it's constant yeses. And then who am I if I say no? On top of which, to have the audacity to say, I'm going to put myself first, we're not taught that that's okay. We learn from grandma that everybody seats before her. She eats last. Right? So those are the models in many cases that we have that demonstrate what a good woman is. So now we've got this cognitive dissonance going on of what makes me good and what makes me successful and what makes me wife, mother, girlfriend, like whatever all my things are. And at the end of the day, what I would like for women to be able to do is know that in order to keep all of those things going, you have to come first. Because when you fall, everything else does too. So it's okay to be like, I need 5 minutes. And I need everybody to go somewhere.
I need 20, 30 minutes. I'll just
And I love that she does that. You know how many women don't, or by the time that they do, it's because you about to catch hands. And we don't want that. That's not where we want women to be, right? That's not when we're operating at our best. Our best is when we are pouring from a cup that's overflowing, not from one that's struggling on empty.
Right. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. That was good. That was good. That was a good answer. I wasn't expecting that.
Thank you for the space to talk about that, though. I think, those are the two spaces that I'm equally passionate about. And if you're curious how AI ties into that, is because, one, I use AI in my everyday life to help accelerate a number of things. It's how I do my meal planning, my grocery shopping, right? So whether it in business, yes. So if there's a woman out there and she's got her own business, or if she's an executive, I can show you how to make your life easier, not just at work, but also at home.
You're right. I do ChatGPT business and personal.
Yes, a lot. A lot. I'd be crazy. Here's what I'm trying to the kind of food that I want to eat. Or I'll tell you what's more fun. If people haven't done it, I don't know if you have. Take a picture of what's in your refrigerator, put it in ChatGPT and say, here's what's in my refrigerator. Help me figure out what I can make.
Nah, I haven't done that. I usually input if I have whatever I have, I put in, what can I make with this? And it'll tell me a recipe.
Take a picture. You don't even have to talk. I mean, you could literally take the picture and voice note it and say, here's what's in my fridge. Ask me any questions, if you need additional information, but I need a recipe. I need to be able to cook it in less than 30 minutes. And I need to feed these number of people.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try that too. And also, if you like to make drinks when you're stressed and you need to relax, AI is a good tool to ask for any recipes, any drink recipes. I use that a lot.
Ooh, are we thinking like a bartender GPT?
Yes. Yeah, that's good too. I didn't even think about that. I just put what I got these. I have tequila, lime juice, this type of grapefruit juice, or something. What kind of drink I can make?
Ooh,
and it gives you multiple drinks you can make.
Maybe we just came up with an idea we could partner on.
Right. I didn't even think about using GPT.
We could sell a GPT.
All right, so we talk about people know what we talk about. All right, so what is explain people what does GPT mean?
Honestly, I don't even know. I don't know what GPT stands for.
It means the G is for generative, the P is for pre-training, and the T is for transformative. That's
Thank
what it
you.
means. And when because people always say with GPT, what's chat? What does GPT mean? That's what it means. But
See, that's what happens when you have certifications. You know what the acronyms mean, and you take the time to learn them. People like me are like, I ain't got time for that, but I could build you a custom one though.
right. But do you know what prompt engineering is, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
because
That's been floating around. People are just starting to be aware of this term. So can you explain what prompt engineering is?
yes, but I'm going to explain it. I love making complex simple, right? So prompt engineering to me is essentially a conversation that I have with AI that helps it understand me, helps us develop a relationship, and helps it understand what I want from it in a very clear and concise way. That to me is a layman's way of explaining prompt engineering without getting all whatever, right?
That is great. That's a good answer.
I think that people, and I'm sorry, I thought I turned these off, but I don't know if you can hear them.
No, I can hear.
Perfect. I think that one of the challenges that most people have with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever is that they use it like Google.
Yes.
And I hear this comment back, well, I tried, but it gave me these random things. And then it kept asking me questions and like all the things. And I'm like, well, if you met a person or like you just met them and you're having a conversation with them, do you think that you can ask them to behave as if they've known you for 10 years? The answer is no.
No.
So same. And I don't say it in a way to be rude, but when I have taught on this topic, I explain to people it will be a true test of your communication capabilities. Because if you are a poor communicator, you will forever get trash results out of whatever model it is. For sure.
Yeah, true. That's very true. Because like you said in the beginning, I used to use ChatGPT as like Google. I used to put basic stuff like, hey, I need this done, and sometimes it give me what I need. Sometimes I got to give more information. But after learning more about prompt engineering and the steps is to give what it needs to give you the perfect answer, it's a traumatic change. Like,
yeah.
It's great.
And I think one of the things that made me good at it, honestly, again, is sort of going back to that design thinking and human-centered design, because when you think about how we typically problem solve, particularly in technology, it is very linear. You know, we learn very early on, garbage in, garbage out, right? Or it's just a very linear way of going about problem solving or thinking, if then, right, type models. Whereas design thinking is problem solving like this. It's kind of all over the place because of how we frame out design thinking models, which is to take all the different points into consideration. So when you approach prompt engineering similarly, then I'm not just asking you, I'm also telling you, giving you permission to ask me. So usually when I teach people prompts, or even when I give them a prompt to help them out, which seems to be a thing I do a lot now, is I always end with, ask me any questions to help further clarify the information that I've provided, or if you feel like you need more.
Okay.
Because number one, it's arrogant to assume that you thought you knew everything up front.
Right.
You probably didn't think it all the way through. And second, that again is a test of your communication and also your relational and emotional and intelligence.
Right. Okay. Great answer. Next question I have for you. What was that moment in your career that you knew you were successful, that you were here, that you knew you are the person that you thought you could be, or even better?
Oh, that's a great question. So this is a funny story. and it might not be what people would think. I was on a plane flying business class to India to work, going to work with my team. It was the first time. And I would say it had nothing to do with like my title at the time or any of those things. It was that someone, the leader that I had at the time, believed in me enough to approve the cost of something like that. Because flying to India in business class is not cheap.
At all. No.
At all.
That's like, what, 15 hours? 12, 15-hour flight, right?
Oh, no. It's a day.
Oh, it's a day. Oh. Business class on a day. Oh, yeah, that costs.
Yes. Yes. And not direct. So my route was always Atlanta to Paris, and I would hang out in Paris for a day just to split it up, or a couple hours, and then go from there to Mumbai. I would get into Mumbai usually around like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I would sleep for a couple hours, get up, take another flight to Hyderabad. So if I left on Sunday, I'm not getting to Hyderabad till like Tuesday.
Wow. Jesus.
It's long. It's a long haul. But and the experiences that I had in the course of that, you know, they say that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so and I believe that once you have an experience, you can recreate that experience in your life. Because once you have sat in that energy, you can recreate it over and over again in a variety of different settings. It doesn't always have to be the same. So once I had that opportunity, it changed everything. It changed everything, because then I knew, I was like, oh, like when I fly in coach now, I have an attitude. I'm like, what am I doing back here with these people? Like, I don't belong here. I forever. And by the way, even now, it's like, if there's first class, I'm like, I'm sorry, is there 360 on this flight? Like, is there a potential for upgrade? I don't mind asking.
Oh, so some people don't know about 360. You want to explain what 360 is?
So 360, first of all, is like, okay, you know how when you go to the club and you think you made it because you can get past the rope, but then you realize there's that other level?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like you have a whole nother room.
Yes, the other room. Mm-hmm. It's past the VIP. Mm-hmm. So that's what 360 is. And oftentimes they have like curated meals, they have beds, it's a very different experience in 360. Oftentimes you can also get a car that will take you from the terminal directly to the flight versus having to ride, you know, in Atlanta, we have the train. There's a whole different experience. There's also the Porsche experience at the airport. That one is very nice too. But once I had that, right?
And that's on Delta Airlines, people. It's on Delta Airlines.
Delta only.
Yeah.
Gotta be Delta. Go Delta.
You know what's funny? My aunt, she was a high executive in her career as well. And she used to always tell me, make sure you fly Delta. Make sure you fly Delta. But Delta, you know, me being young and dumb, I'm like, man, Delta high. You know what I'm saying? Like, why it cost so goddamn much? Why I could take a cheaper flight to get what I needed? Didn't think about it. Didn't know nothing about it until I got older and knew about the perks of the mileage and stuff like that. And now I feel dumb because I did not listen to my aunt at the time.
Listen, it's never too late.
Oh, no, it's not too late. Look, my kids got Sky Mile account already.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm talking about. Get those miles, rack them up. Yes. There's so much that comes with that. And so I think, and again, like that's the important stuff to teach our kids, right? And pass down, and they can make whatever decisions they want to make. Now, my son is the total opposite. My son is of the school of thought that he only pays for things that actually matter to him. So he will fly Frontier. He does not care. However, he has been to I think at last count, he told me it was 42 or 43 countries. So while flying, like he don't care about none of that. He's like, you can miss me with all those miles and all that stuff. He's like, but I will get to a place and I will have a Michelin experience. That's, that's his life. But he also doesn't live in Atlanta anymore. So there's that. But if you live here in Atlanta, I highly recommend, this is the hub, fly Delta, get your experiences in, or whatever matters to you. But to your original question, that was an unlock for me on many levels. And so it furthered my belief that the life that I desired was possible.
Okay.
Because the girl with no certifications, right? Like going back to that. And here I am sitting in business class. And when I flew back home on Emirates and had a suite and got to go to Dubai and all the things. Yeah, I knew what was possible. Like favor on my life. I'm so grateful.
That's what's up. Is Emirates really as good as the people say it is?
Yes, it is. I have to tell you that is an experience worth, whatever you got to do it. To have a shower and pajamas on a flight, like ridiculous. You have your own refrigerator. Like it is the craziest thing. But again, you have this experience. You're like, there are people in the world that live like this. And we talked about like me not having certifications and stuff. Let's talk about where I come from. So that's even more. Like, I never forget that I come from, I'm one of the only people in my family to go to college. I came from like nothing, like literally nothing. So beyond the certifications and all of those things, the simple fact that I have an MBA, the simple fact that I've been able to have these experiences in my life, I have such a ridiculous amount of gratitude because I literally have walked in moments that I have prayed for.
Okay. All right. That was a great answer. My goodness. Great. Okay. One of my last questions.
Gotcha.
Where do you see your future self in the next 2 to 3 years? What are your major next goals? Where are your goals?
Wow, that's amazing. So initially, obviously, I am going to knock out this certified consultant course. Because again, I really am passionate in both, in that lane, both of serving high achieving women. I think is such an important message. I think is something that God has placed on me because women we have a lot of work to do together in this world to make a lot of things happen. And so to steward that, that's my goal, right? And to really grow and impact as many women and as many lives as I possibly can in that space through nervous system science, also through helping other people achieve their goals, other women achieve their goals, and also through AI. So that's one. Two, I'm going to travel more. Yes. I'm going to travel more. I'll probably be splitting time. Since my son lives in Thailand, I'll be splitting some time between Atlanta and Thailand. But I also lead retreats. And so exploring Southeast Asia with my retreat business for high achieving women so that they can get a break. That's definitely part of the plan.
All right. Wait, you just glazed over that. Like, hold on, what's your retreat business?
So it's part of my coaching, right? And so I firmly believe that oftentimes, yes, there are the micro pauses that we need to build into our everyday life, but then we need a max pause at least once a year for like-minded women to come together. I coach them in a small group. It's usually no more than 10 women. And I kind of take them offline so that they can fully reset their nervous system, build sisterhood, talk about the stuff that it's crazy. They will talk about stuff with these perfect strangers that they can't talk about, at home with their close friends and all of those things. And why not do that, exploring the world, taking them to places that maybe, one, they would have never thought to go to, or two, they don't want to go alone. So I curate a luxury experience. And we have an amazing time.
Nice. All right, yeah, I'm out. Yeah, because that's one of my places me and my wife will go to is Thailand. Okay, nice.
Well, let me know, because I'm about to actually head back over there in October. I'll probably go back in December. I went in May. I was there for 2 weeks. It was amazing. I was in Bangkok and went to Pattaya. I think this time in October, we're going to go to Hua Hin. But I'll be doing a full thing through Southeast Asia. I want to definitely, because I went to South Korea. So I want to take some people there. That was phenomenal. Vietnam, I want to go to Da Nang and Hanoi. Da Nang is phenomenal. The Philippines, Singapore.
Okay.
Everybody's done Bali. I want to take people to some of the places that a lot of folks have not been to. And I think most people would be astounded at how cool some of these places are and how advanced and built up. My son is in Da Nang right now, and they're sending me pictures and it's just phenomenal. South Korea was the same way. Blew my mind.
Okay. All right. Well, we went over our time that we supposed to do.
I know, it's okay. Yes. Okay, this was amazing. Amazing.
Yes. So tell the people where they can follow you. I'll put your IG up here, but let them know if you want to tell them any other websites, anything else you want to brag about.
You can find me on IG at the Lorien Rochelle. But I was telling Jared when we met, I usually don't tell people unless it's a business setting what my LinkedIn is, but actually you can find me there too. It's just Lorien Talmadge, my full name. And that's where you find all my business creds. No credentials, no certifications yet. But I got some strong creds up there though.
The AI certification coming.
But yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show. Remember, y'all, please follow, share, and like this. Share with people that you know. Follow Lorien whenever you get an opportunity to. Thank y'all for coming. See y'all again.
Thank you for having me. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.